Hello there, this is Big Benedict. We're playing DmC Definitive Edition on Gods Must Die difficulty. And in this area here, there's some slugs that you can hit for some Devil Trigger. When the next edit happens over here, I do have some Devil Trigger, so if you look at my gauge, you'll see that this was on a different take over here. So this is mission, see right there? A little bit had gone into it from a slug. They're just the red slugs. There are not any green ones around here, but this is mission 2 of 20, and there's a second level charge for the Ravager. Takes him out of his Devil Trigger and launches him. And there are 4 modifiers on this Definitive Edition. There's Hardcore and Turbo, which I have on, and then there's also one which is a kind of a cheating one, which is Super Dante, which I'll never have on. And there's also Must Style, which if you don't know what that means, it means you have to get an S or higher to start damaging the enemies. But I don't play for style. I find that when I'm trying to be overly focused on being stylish, that I start taking damage quite a lot. So I do try to be as varied as I possibly can, so that there's something fun to watch and enjoyable and changing on the screen for you to enjoy. But I don't go out of my way to. I mean, I don't know how I can't do that. Like, some people are just masters at this game, and it's incredible to watch them. But I'm not at this skill level, and you might be wondering, why am I doing a guide for this game again? It's because when I heard of this difficulty originally, I wanted to do it, but it requires an unlock beyond Dante Must Die, and I felt that if I didn't at least put something out on my channel, then the already waning attention that this game had, even at the time when I started posting videos for DMD mode, which is a couple weeks ago, it would already fade. So I wanted to put something out there, and I pretty much resolved that I wouldn't even do this difficulty mode. This is a really good example of the kind of player I am. I did this no damage, but this was probably my 30th to 40th attempt just on this batch of enemies. There's just 2 of these enemies here, and I either decimate or get decimated. There's just hardly any middle ground, because I just don't know what it is. Sometimes I'm just really sloppy and horrible. Other times I can dispatch enemies without even taking any damage. And I don't really know what that is. I guess it's just perseverance and gritting your teeth and wanting to win a lot. But I did that on the Vanquish final bosses, and I can never win those guys. Win against those guys, excuse me. Let me talk like a normal person. So I guess it's just this game is, it's a challenging difficulty setting. I will admit that. Is it cheap? I don't know. I wouldn't say it's cheap. Like, the enemies are not as resilient as they are in DMC 3. Like, that is an unacceptable level of enemies tanking attacks and just draining the fun out of a game. But this game, it's definitely not up to that kind of a level of polish, but it's still a fantastic game, and I love this game. And I wanted to cover it again, and I wanted to help people beat it, see if I can beat it, and if I can, usher people through their own victory. And that might seem suspect to you, that a person is altruistic and wants to help, but that's what my channel was founded on, and I'm going to continue doing so. So this chapter, I don't think it gave me too many issues, quite frankly. Chapter 3 it does have a pretty hard fight with a witch and a dream runner, but I have a pretty good strategy for dealing with those enemies, because you could somewhat separate them, but like I said, it's somewhat, but we'll see when we get there. Mission 4 is a hard one, though. After that, I haven't even done it yet. So I don't know. I don't know if I can beat this. I'm trying my goddamnedest to, and I'm looking forward to it, and I'm excited. It's a little coming back to do the commentaries. It's kind of a challenge, just because I've said a lot of things before on my original guide, but the knowledge that I had then is definitely different. I don't know why these guys spawned up there, but there they come. Nice to have the lock on. So here's a couple of Frost Knights for us to take care of. These guys aren't too bad, actually, even when they're double triggered. So when they throw their ice attack, you can parry it and freeze them if you can. Otherwise, you're going to get frozen and take some damage. So, like I said on my guide many times, do not use the devil trigger unless you absolutely have to, because you never know what's coming in the form of tough waves. And if you can take care of enemies without using it, all the better, because you'll be able to use it when you actually need it. And I do have something I have to admit, because if I don't, then I feel kind of guilty about it. Like the first Divinity statue in Chapter 1, I was going through I was trying to max out all my inventory, and it actually lets you buy items, buy and use. Like it says, you know, when you go to the Divinity statues and you purchase something, you could actually do something called you buy it and you use it simultaneously. So I bought and I used a devil trigger, which filled up my gauge. So if you look at my footage, there was an edit where I went into a fight with more devil trigger than I had. It was like a maxed out bar, and that's just because I didn't even know what was permitted on this difficulty. And even so, they let you do that to begin with, but it's not going to happen again, because maxing out your health is never necessary, because anytime you restart from a checkpoint, they max your health out for you. They fill your HP up completely. However, if at every Divinity statue you bought and used a devil trigger and maxed out your devil trigger, that would kind of I would feel bad about doing that, and that's why I'm admitting it in the first place. And does that entirely, you know, discredit this guide? I don't think so, because Chapter 1, I could do that again. I mean, I can get to the same place and beat the fight that I did without using the devil trigger. I'm just trying to say I'm honest with you guys, and I'm up front with you, and this is the difficulty I'm saying it is. And even so, that is permitted. I don't know if they intended for that to be, but it's not that I was using items during combat, because you can't. It doesn't let you, but it does let you purchase and use things at the store, which is kind of bizarre. And I think it's, I don't know. I really don't know if it's just an oversight of the game. But I'm telling you that it does exist, and for people that, you know, are really struggling, that is something. It's an option for you if you need a refill of your devil trigger at every Divinity statue. So anyway, so we're coming up on the next fight here. Let's see which one it is. This fight here. We've got a couple of the Bathos enemies. The cherubs that are, I think they're like a greenish color. Those are greenish blue, maybe a fusion of those two colors. Those are Pathos enemies. The ones that are gold are Bathos. I was looking at the bestiary because I want to be correct about what I'm talking about with these enemies, because a lot of times in my guide before I forgot, I didn't know what the name of the enemy was that I was referring to, and it was usually those flying cherubs that was the issue of mine not knowing what they were called. But if you're on the final fight of a level and you have double trigger, don't hesitate for a second to use it, because whatever you have can't be carried over to the next chapter, so it's futile to use it. This looks like one of the final battles here, but I could be mistaken. Usually rooms like this house butchers, and we'll just have to see. So also, what I've discovered about these games is that when you're finishing up a wave and you're going into another wave, sometimes if you have the camera facing the wall, it's not until the character turns around and you move the camera around that the enemies will pop up from the ground. So you can exploit that sometimes by slightly moving it away from the character and putting just a little bit of the screen of the arena. And sometimes, like for instance, one of these fights you might see where I finished off killing one of these lesser Stygians, and I was able to get into the next wave, spawn just the lesser Stygians that accompany the butcher, but not the butcher. So we'll have to see if this is one of those instances, because it looks like it might be. These are the, let's see, yeah, this is probably what I'm doing. See, I'm keeping the camera facing the wall, and I'm doing the drive. And not, if you use the lock on, it's going to screw everything up because it's going to then move the camera against what you're doing. But there is a butcher that spawns here, and what I'm doing is I'm killing all these enemies without quote-unquote looking at the butcher where he would come out, and there he is. I put him on the screen, and that's a way to control how enemies come out. So I missed that one. They're a lot less lenient about giving you parries in this game because there are fewer dropped frames, and it runs at 60 hertz, and there is like all the frames you need to do the parries, they're in there. So it's all based on skill. They were a little lax about it on the original vanilla version, but not so for this one. After this guy throws his blades, though, you can approach him and he'll have to regenerate his blades. So it's a perfect opportunity to go up to him and do triangle, triangle, delay, triangle, and finish him off with this. And I nearly didn't get away. That would probably kill me, that blast right there. But here are some rages. I think they're called ghost rages. Or I'm not sure. See, the thing about this is that there is no requirement now to use angelic weapons on angel weapons and demon weapons on demons. But there's a good parry right there, and if you do get a parry, the enemy is subdued and you can do a level 2 charge, providing the other one's not looking at you. Sometimes what I like to do is distribute the damage so that when I kill one, the one that is left and who starts spinning across the screen doesn't have much HP left. But I usually like to reserve some double trigger for those guys because they're very fast, and you can't survive more than 2. 3 slashes from them kills you. I do know that much. So we're coming up here now, and we're gonna do the final fight of the chapter, and it's a collection of Ravengers, and I'm not sure what else. That might be a separate wave, but I remember struggling on this last time I played this, but I didn't struggle now because I know how to manipulate these guys. So once you destroy the Aquila vines, you'll proceed down here, smash the walls, kill the critters if you want to, and in the library here we'll do the final fight after you get the blue rose from the ground. Oh, we have this. I'm going to be leaving all these things in. Sometimes I feel like it's unnecessary, but I don't know. I think it has nice transitions sometimes, and I enjoy doing this. So it's a very brief one. Oh, I think we already did the brief one. This one's a little bit longer. So the guy got in a little hit, but it doesn't much matter. And okay, I forgot about this one. These are these enemies here, Pathos enemies, and lesser Stygians on the ground. So you always want to take care of the flying enemies because they're just annoying and they need to be dispatched quickly. You could also do buffering techniques in this game. What I like to do is triangle with the rebellion, and then use the arbiter. So it's triangle, delay, and then triangle while holding the right trigger to do the arbiter, and that will do the Trinity Smash. And you can also do the same thing with having the Eric's equipped. You can do 2 Eric's punches and then a delay and then switch to the arbiter if you want to. But that's a little bit more complicated and it's a little unnecessary sometimes. But I think the 2 hits with the rebellion followed by the arbiter final Y hit, I think that's faster to do because it's just really quick strikes with the sword rather than the slower attacks with the arbiter. So enemies constantly block on this difficulty. That's what they do. They don't tank your hits, excuse me, but they do block very much. So I think this is a final wave. So you want to do level 1 or 2 charges. Level 2 is more preferable because it deals more damage, obviously, and you want to just take care of these guys with the charges, with the devil trigger, and this is why we save it up, because it's a tough wave. There's about 5 chainsaw enemies here. So once you get them up into the air, even though they keep guarding while they're in the air, you can still do roulette spins. And wow, that was not even that much actually. They usually take off like 3/4 of your health bar. It's insane. But you can still, you can do the roulette spin in the air. He went back to devil triggering, but you can still execute them in the air with combos, even though they're guarding. Okay. Okay, so that was definitely my bad. I shouldn't have done that when he's swinging. If they're just revving up the chainsaw, they're perfectly vulnerable to do it. So we're gonna launch this guy up, do some combos, take him down to Chinatown, right? This is just a great game. I mean, I just don't understand people that hate this game. Obviously, it's not as good as the other ones, but it's still a fantastic, polished game. So that's all I'll say about it. I think we just have a flying sequence over here, some platforming, and then we'll be on mission 3. Some critters to kill right there. And I will be using this costume for the duration of the campaign. I think it's called DmC costume, DmC 1 costume. And it's pretty decent. Okay, so that is the end of the chapter, guys. I want to thank you for watching, and hopefully this is going to be a very good project and a helpful one. Take care.